Detective Raven. I'm Judge Maddox, and this is the Mercy Capital Court.
Hold on, just wait a second.
You're before this court today charged with the murder of your wife.
I loved my wife. I didn't hurt her.
If you are innocent, prove it.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2026 sci-fi thriller Mercy. The film is directed by, and I know I'm going to butcher this name, Timur Bekmambetov. And it stars Chris Pratt and Rebecca Ferguson. Now, the film focuses on Chris Pratt's character, Chris Raven. He is a police detective who is accused of murdering his wife. Now, this is set in the near future. There is a new artificial intelligence process in place for prosecuting people. You are put before an AI judge, and you've got 90 minutes to prove your innocence using all the technology available to you through this AI technology. And he finds himself in this court accused of murdering his wife. He's completely baffled by this, doesn't understand it, and he's got 90 minutes to prove his innocence. Can he do it? Well, you'll have to check the film to find that out for yourself. What are my thoughts on Mercy? Well, this was a bit getting a bit of negative hype before it came out. I think a lot of people were kind of writing this one off. Oh, this is going to be the first flop of the year and all this kind of stuff. And, it kind of frustrates me when people kind of just write movies off before they're even released, before they've even seen them. So I know I never do that with any film, until I've seen a film, and then I'll make my own judgment on it. While this film isn't particularly doing well at the cinema, I actually personally had quite a good time with this film. I thought it was decently made with an interesting idea. AI and AI technology is at the forefront of everybody's life at the minute. It's big in the news. It's big all over social media. It's big on everybody's phones. It's a huge, huge thing. So naturally, the movies are going to be focusing heavily on this over the next few years, as they have been over the last couple of years. And this is no different. I've seen this kind of being compared to Minority Report, and yes, there are definitely similarities here between those two films. It's just that Minority Report, if you like, had a different way of kind of accusing someone of their guilt rather than, this film. But you kind of wonder, and I wondered from watching the trailer of this, which I thought was a decent trailer, it did pique my interest in the sense of, okay, how are they going to keep our interest up for 90 minutes, essentially? Because it's pretty much played in real time, give or take. How are they going to keep our interest up with Chris Pratt strapped to a chair talking to Rebecca Ferguson, i.e. an AI technology? And to be honest, they kind of manage it. It becomes at times almost like a found footage film, in a sense of you're watching a lot of this film through footage that he is rifling through, or him talking to other people on phone calls, video calls and stuff, trying to get police and other people to try and gather evidence for him to prove his innocence. And slowly but surely, the plot kind of unravels as you watch the film. And it kind of unravels in real time as Chris Pratt's character, Chris, is discovering these things in the film. You as the audience member are discovering them at the same time. So, things are being revealed to you and the character kind of at the same time. And that's good. It kind of increases the immersion of the film. It draws you in as an audience member, and you feel kind of part of the story. It's not all, good news in a sense of, this isn't like radically original or anything like that. And there are problems with the film. The main one for me initially was the fact that Chris Pratt's character, he was an arse. It's made very clear through evidence shown in the film, and he doesn't deny it, that he's an absolutely crap husband and father. Quite abusive, actually. which is why he's naturally the main suspect in her murder, because all the evidence points to him. So you actually struggle initially to get on board with him in regards to him proving his innocence and stuff. But it's also completely obvious that he has got to find all this evidence to prove his innocence. So it doesn't really leave much of a surprise of, he must be innocent. What's the point of having the film otherwise? It'd be a pointless film if he spent 90 minutes in a chair and he was guilty throughout the whole thing. So it's just a case of, piecing the dots together. It becomes like a digital detective movie, so to speak, if that's how you want to describe it. But, I thought it was an interesting movie. I thought it was well made. The technology felt like it could exist, if not now, very soon. I did read somewhere that Chris Pratt was actually presented to the makers of the film. Was it Warner Brothers? Something like that. To consider doing like an AI judge for real. Instead of hiring Rebecca Ferguson, actually putting an AI as the judge, and they rejected the idea, which was probably a good thing, because that probably would be controversy that the film wouldn't need, because you just know the first time a film utilizes that, an AI figure in a film, it's going to be massively controversial. It's already happening in video games. They're utilizing AI technology in video games, and people are, freaking out over it. I don't really get it, but they are. So, it was the right call to have Rebecca Ferguson cast as this AI, Judge Maddox. And interestingly enough, despite the fact that she's playing an AI, they've actually got decent chemistry, which is, it shouldn't really work, because, she's playing an AI and she doesn't really display emotions and things like that. But, the film, there's a message in here somewhere, that it tries to get across, but not necessarily frustratingly. Sometimes Hollywood movies try and get a message across by, almost like slapping you across the face with a message so you can't miss it. But it's not as intense as that, the message. The message is, okay, AI is good, but it's not perfect. It can make mistakes. And maybe, to be fair, us as humankind maybe need to actually take note of that, because we are kind of running with AI before we can walk. That's kind of what it tells you by the end of the film. But yeah, I had a decent time with this. I'm not going to lie. I thought it was watchable, well made, good pace to it as well. Like I say, you don't expect it to kind of be what it is with him in a chair for the majority of the film. But I quite enjoyed the detective process he goes through to try and unravel evidence, sort of thing, and it works well. It keeps your interest up throughout. And while this will never be Film of the Year material or anything like that, it's definitely not. Flop-wise, it's not doing brilliantly at the cinema, but, in regards to audience response and stuff, it's fairly positive, I would suggest. So, yeah, check out Mercy if you get the opportunity. Let me know in your comments if you've seen the film, and I will be back on the channel with plenty more content very, very soon.